And go, hello, everyone and no one, and welcome to another Talking Into the Void. Uh, I've actually never introduced myself, but who gives a shit? Because with me, as always, is Tier Alexander. Tier, how you doing? Cricket, cricket.
Hello?
There he is.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Sorry.
And we got
I,
a
I
Hey, hi, do your job.
okay.
God damn it.
Moving on, and we got Angela. Angela, how you doing?
I'm all right. How about you?
Oh, not so bad. Will Forge is joining us. Will, how you doing?
Why am I here?
You kind of cut in and out
Um,
there.
so why am I here? Oh, I'm he- I'm
Blackmail.
I'm doing I'm doing. It's
And back from his hiatus of doing whatever it is he does sometimes, we have James. James, how you doing?
Uh, could be better, could be worse. I hate everything.
I hate everyone.
I mean, if you were listening to Monkey Stream earlier, then you got logic or really good, solid reasons to hate Sneeko and feel bad for Moist Critical.
What happened to Moist Critical?
Oh, he had a debate with Sneeko, and Sneeko basically kept trying to say that a person who is not a child is a physically matured person should be considered an adult, and it's just like no, fam.
No.
Yeah, because he tried to
Hate the
say,
majority.
yep, and that's exactly what
Well,
Monkey got into, and that's exactly what Moist Critical didn't get into. Luckily, he did stand his ground, but Sneeko's trying to do the Destiny thing where he applies other things to it. That's theirs, and we're not just going to steal their topic. For now, if we want to, we can come back to it. But I
We'll circle back to it.
went through the whole Death Wish series, excluding the I consider pseudo or not pseudo spiritual sequel to the Death Wish series, Death Sentence, starring Kevin Bacon. And apparently, only Tier has seen the Death Wish reboot, like I have as well. And I guess James said he wouldn't see it out of principle. Angela hasn't seen it, and James does, or not James. Jesus, Will doesn't know if he's seen it. Correct?
yeah. A lot of stuff kind of runs together upstairs sometimes.
Now, I will say, when I originally saw the trailer, I'm gonna grab a drink. I did not want to see this movie. It pissed me off because it looked like they were trying to make this movie, the Death Wish movie, way too much of an action movie. And the Death Wish series doesn't take that role until the third. Am I wrong, Tier?
Yeah. Like by the third one, it goes full buddy cop off the rails, and this one just and the reboot. I just like what they did with the character, making
I
him a doctor.
I actually think that was doing well enough because the studios are very, very well known for doing a shot for shot remake. It's the reason why I don't fully hate the remake of Carrie, but I don't like it.
All right. The,
Re-
the
reason
reason.
reason being is because for the remake of Carrie, they finally got close to Margaret White, uh, to her personality. They still have not nailed her actual looks because apparently having it
what happened to-
because apparently having a big woman as Carrie White's mother, they can't do for some odd reason.
Mhm.
Because Margaret White is not a thin, petite woman.
Well, at the time, I want to say Blythe Danner, but I don't think that's actually her. That's not Blythe Danner, the other one. But whatever her name is, the one that was Margaret White in
The Sissy
the
Spacek.
Sissy Spacek Carrie, she actually was considered large for that time.
She was considered large for that time, but she still would not fit the description of Margaret White.
I agree with that.
And that's what
But
I was
that's-
saying in that.
all I'm saying is that's what Hollywood fat was.
Yeah. No, and I'm looking at this one of like the accuracy of that. Well, like going back to the Death Wish reboot. Yeah, you took Paul Kersey instead of having him be a Korean War conscientious objector who now does realtory. In a
He's
way,
a doctor.
he's a
He's an
doctor.
architect.
Yeah, he was an
In the
architect.
original, he was an architect.
Yeah, in the original, he was an architect. So once you added the other movies, it made sense of him moving around until the fifth, which he's then in witness protection.
Yeah.
Uh, Making him a doctor wasn't necessarily a bad thing because it would go. A lot of doctors are going to have the thought process of being against guns because of what their job entails. And they did kind of combine the first and second Death Wish original movies to the second, or it's like to do the reboot. And I think they kept it just far enough away. Because again, if they'd have made Bruce Willis an architect and done the exact same thing, it'd been like, why'd you just make a copy of the movie?
I don't know. Okay. So again, I don't dislike the reboot. You know,
I'm putting it this way: it is not near as good as the first two original movies.
yes, and it didn't have the what was the word I'm looking for? Um, he gets off too clean in the end. Like, remember the end of the second one where the cop goes like, "Hey, you're fucking up. You need to leave."
No, that was the first one. Because the
Nah,
first,
it was the second one. The second one where he leaves.
no,
He leaves town.
that's the first one. The second one is after his daughter they break into his house, kill his maid, kidnap his daughter,
Raper.
rape her, and then she ends up trying to get away. She dies, so they're technically responsible for that. So he hunts all of them down. Lawrence Fishburne happening to be one of them, and then gets the final guy in the mental asylum for the most part. And the cops never figure it out. It's the first one where you have the one dude who ends up dying in the second to that, and he's just like, he's like you working, he's like for the company you work for has a lot of other things, like get out of town, and that's when you have Charles Bronson had the whole thing by sundown.
Yeah.
Well, BG, Danny Trejo was in the fourth movie.
And so with the guy that played Tuvok, Tim Ross.
Yeah. So who would have made more sense to have in the reboot would have been to have an appearance by Jeff Goldblum and Lawrence Fishburne.
And Denzel Washington.
Denzel wasn't in there.
That look, the guy playing that hood looks so fucking like Denzel Washington. It is uncanny.
In Death Wish 2?
Yes.
All right, we're going to bring up the whole freaking thing for that one.
It just looks so uncanny that
All cast and crew, because there's Lawrence Fishburne.
This is Death Wish 2.
Yes. And not seeing him.
again, I'm just saying.
Jesus Christ, here, fucking self-hating black man. All them niggas look alike. Oh, I probably
They
shouldn't have said
do.
it that way.
And no, every black person is Richard Roundtree, as we learned today.
Oh, fuck you.
What?
Don't
Oh my
bring that
god!
up. Don't bring that up because that is not true.
What? All black men
There
look
is
like Richard
not a
Roundtree.
single person in this movie, unless it's this person who doesn't have a picture, that looks like freaking Denzel Washington.
He was an extra. He played the hood, and I think I could bring up.
You're talking about the one from the group of guys, right?
Yeah, I
'Cause
think it
there's
was like the second.
Because
I was gonna
there's the
Picture
three
of a
black
guy
guys.
from
Yeah.
the back that says Thug Number 1, who's played by Michael Tavon.
What?
No, it wouldn't have been Thug number 1 or 2 because they had the names in that one.
Wait a minute.
There are black men with names as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne as Cutter.
Yep.
You have
The
Stuart
last
K.
I heard,
Robinson as Jiver.
Oh, Jiva.
I heard, most black
Yeah.
men had
All right. All
names.
right. All right. Okay. Here, I found it. I found the clip. I'm going to share it so y'all can see this. He looks just fuck. He looks so much like Denzel Washington. Void. Can share screen. There.
Am I supposed
Can't
to be
see
able
it.
to see something?
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm getting it out. Share screen. Do it again.
All right. Still going through.
Go live. Can y'all see it?
Just a moment. I accidentally closed my Discord.
Okay, that's the first one.
And he looks, that guy right here looks
Does
so much
not-
like him.
No.
No.
Not even a little bit.
Cause he's making a face.
And he just got blown away, so I'm pretty sure you don't even see him again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was 1974, and I don't know how old Denzel Washington is.
We can look that up too. Hold on, let me
But I'll
stop
bring
sharing
this
real
back up.
quickly.
But yeah, so instead
I
of
just suddenly got the thought of
So, like,
here being
yeah.
in a talk show before the internet.
so
By the way,
Like-
that would be Thug number 2.
and
He was born in 54. He would have been 20. That is around the age that guy is. Cool. I'm just saying, it looks just like him.
but it's not him.
He got a doppelganger or a twin.
That's actually pretty common. That that there are going to be people who look very similar, and it could just look just close enough because of the mixture of the light and the makeup and everything else. Because don't forget, they had to go pretty heavy makeup back then.
I know. But
Go into some of the other differences between the two movies. It's like for Charles Bronson's character, he goes to, I think it's Arizona.
Yeah.
And he meets the
And that's
guy.
when he
and-
gets first gun.
Yeah, well, that's not when he gets his first. That's when he gets given the gift of the gun, because he brings up the story of one, he was in the Korean War as a conscientious objector. He shot guns before because his father was into that, and the only reason he went away from it and everything was because his father died in a hunting accident.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm sometimes not the person to argue with these things on when I've rewatched them recently, because
Fair enough.
I watched
it recently.
I watched the goddamn series like it's another one that I watch like once a year.
I'm kind of with Will though. That all Bruce Willis movies run together because when you really think about it, there's two types of Bruce Willis movies. There's Bruce Willis with the gun when he had hair, and then Bruce Willis with the gun after he went bald. And that's it.
Hmm.
Okay, I thought you were said that there were 3 types.
No, two types. I mean, but ultimately, I can understand how Will thinks they all run together because, quite honestly, did Die Hard ever really end?
Yes, but I mean, if you really want to see someone who has a lot of movies that are all fairly similar, it's Jason Statham. It's Jason Statham playing Jason Statham, and Jason Statham beats up bad guys.
And Jason Statham.
Yeah, but he learned that from Bruce Willis.
Who probably learned it from somebody else.
John Wayne. Because John Wayne played playing Genghis Khan as John Wayne.
Hey, if your options are learning how to be somebody else or making them make the character you, always better to have them make the character you.
I mean, that's like, look at how Will Smith plays himself in most of his movies. Not all, but most.
A good portion of Will Smith is Will Smith.
Because
My
that's
whole-
how
No,
you're always
because in
going to
the
be able
movies-
to.
Well,
Play
hold
your
on,
stuff.
one at a time. I think Angela was trying to say something. Angela?
I was gonna say, I guess I act wrong because my whole reason for liking acting is that I don't have to be myself.
That is the thing, and that's where we have like we'll bring up like some of the great actors. Like, in my opinion, that one, Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman is Gary Oldman playing
Gary,
Gary Oldman.
no,
That
Gary
is
Oldman.
not true.
Gary Oldman disappears into characters that you're like, oh shit, that was him.
All right, I'm going to say this, and it's going to be controversial, but I think his best role was in The Professional.
Mm,
That's
Good
his
in the
best role.
professional, but I don't think that was his
Dracula.
best role.
Huh?
I don't remember if I've seen that
Right.
one.
Leon, The Professional with
Oh.
a young Natalie Portman. Like, she was like maybe 12.
If I've seen that one, it's been
It
so
was
long I
her
can't
first
remember.
movie, actually.
Yeah. Like, she was about 12. If that, maybe 13.
It's actually a really good movie and not my favorite Gary Oldman.
I mean, most people like have the standard quote from that one of, Natalie Portman thinking that she says she thinks she loves him because she can feel it in her guts, and he's like, if you can feel it in your guts, it's probably shit.
Bring me on.
but,
Yeah, but for like, I still would say like, you get to see a little bit for the remit or reboot of Death Wish to see a little better, in my opinion, of Bruce Willis's acting chops, considering how he starts off.
Yeah, she was 94. She was 13 when she acted in that movie.
Hey, I always liked Bruce Willis, even when he was on the Moonlighting. He was good on Moon.
Man, John Renault porked up.
It's kind of just
I
one of
think
those
he
things.
got
But
sick.
one of the big things I
Oh.
definitely liked was since the 2018 one had to deal with the more modern stuff. Like, they actually had him because of talking to police, seeing stuff online. Like, you quite literally see him when he takes the gun from a guy who a GSR victim, or no, I don't know, or GSW victim, not GSR. Yeah, so a GSW victim, like, he kicks it underneath, like, he pushes it underneath the gurney or the bed further so he can take it after trying to go on there, or before the guy actually just dies because he's lost too much blood. And you see him go through the whole thing of like learning how to use it. Like, quite literally, Bruce Willis is fucking looking up videos of how to disassemble and reassemble and maintain a Glock. I fucking loved it because like that was the great thing about the Death Sentence movie with Kevin Bacon is after he gets 3 guns from John Goodman, because John Goodman, that one is a illegal guns dealer. Like, he's reading the manuals of like how to disassemble them, use them, put them together, and everything. Like, the one part that is definitely cringe is because like also instead of it being set in New York, it's set in Chicago. The cringy gun shop ads to where they had a chick shooting guns.
Mm-hmm.
Because God, some of those were fucking cringe. It's like, okay, yeah, some of that stuff's true, but dear God, was that shit cringy to me. Bethany from whatever the gun shop was. They got her in the
Well, if you're
videos
dealing
shooting
with
fucking
gun
guns.
shops in Chicago, I'm expecting everything to be cringe anyway, especially a Hollywood presentation of gun shops in Chicago.
Mm.
Yeah, that shit was super cringe in my opinion. But I'd still recommend seeing it unless you're just like super against seeing Bruce Willis in a movie.
I like Bruce Willis.
I
Plot-
don't mind Bruce Willis.
And he doesn't shoot every bad guy.
I have to say I generally enjoy Bruce Willis movies and everything,
And,
although
Like one of
there's
my
one everybody likes that I just could not get through.
Which
What?
one?
Sixth Sense.
I agree.
didn't watch
Sixth
that
Sense.
since
Not everybody liked it. I did.
Well, I'll still say this, and without giving away too much of it, I still think my favorite death is when he, because like for this one, instead of seeing who killed his family, he ends up finding out who that was purely by accident. Because the first Charles Bronson one, Goldblum and his cohorts get away, and no one
I
knows it.
hate you, rich cunts.
Yeah, and like no one sees them ever again. And the second, he catches them because they had robbed him earlier, and went to his house because he kind of beat up one of them. So like he knew who
Yeah.
they were and then got his revenge. So this one, instead of having it that he saw them, it's he didn't see them, and luckily there wasn't any actual, sexual assault of a person. And has that full thing in there. And like one of them again that he goes to, the guy's like, "So you're not gonna kill me?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna kill you. Jack is,
Hmm.
and I'm not gonna tell you what happens from there."
Jack from Jack Cochran kills a guy. It's okay.
I don't think so.
Wouldn't surprise me if Jack Cochran killed a guy. I can't see guns.
Oh yeah, the Sixth Sense is definitely a Shamalama Ding Dong. Oh, did anyone
Alright.
watch Part of Monkey? And since that kind of reminded me of saying the Shamalama Ding Dong like Polly does, did anyone watch any of Monkey's stream earlier?
Nah.
No,
I was gonna say,
catching the movie.
Dude, he's been kind of having, like, in my opinion, just like a slight little jokey dig at like Polly and Sinatra, and mostly others, in that whole thing of being like, oh, yeah, they say they start at this time, then they'll play like X amount of minutes of music. It's like like 30 minutes of music. I'm like, well, Polly's usually dealing with troubles, and Sinatra's usually waiting on fucking Drunkle and Polly to get there.
Ah,
And I'm like, I've only got like a minute and a half of it, and that's me playing my shitty music, okay? And by saying me playing my shitty music, that's me on a guitar.
I still like you, my friend.
Oh, I still like it. That's one of the guys I was in the military with. We got the mic on there so you could hear me hitting the strings, and played it through his one thing as well as he's messing with his some of his DJ stuff to like mess with how the sounds were. But I say shitty as in like I'm not good.
It's all in your head, my friend. As long as somebody likes it, it's good.
No. What I mean by I'm not good is I'm not good at guitar. I still need to learn more. Like I can't really play. Now you pick up what I'm putting down?
Yes.
I know that.
I don't wanna.
I know that feeling.
What?
Said I know that feeling. That's exactly where I am on the guitar.
Mm.
And I got a nice guitar in the other room.
Oh yeah,
I'm not.
I got a couple. I need to restring it and practice with it.
Hell, I got a keyboard downstairs. I haven't touched.
Very jelly. I've got a keyboard in my Amazon wish list right now that's compact enough to fit in my apartment, I think, but still has the full key set. That's a killer for me. Is gotta have the 88.
So I had a coworker who is a shopaholic, and she in QVC. I think she funded QVC.
Well, I was gonna say before you get too much in the story tier, I say it's kind of funny. Like Will's got that in his shopping cart, and I just won a Glock 26 lower. I threw $175 at a gun broker auction. It was just like, I wonder, because I normally don't go over $200. I was like, I wouldn't mind a G26, but yeah, I won the full lower. So all I'll have to do is get the slide and everything when it comes up, or when it gets here.
Nice.
I am happy for you, but I have to ask, what does that have to do with
Because it was in my cart of
or
it was in my cart.
Musical instrument.
It was in
now
my
I'm making the connection.
yeah, it was in my thing of like, will I win this? It's like, and that whole thing. So it's similar, but not quite there. I was trying to figure out a way to. Well, it was quite literally as I won it quite about 30 minutes before we started.
3-gallon
The thing
popcorn
is, I-
popper and my
But you were saying that your coworker may have funded QVC tier.
Yes. She had the Express QVC card. Her and her family just bought shit. Like she had emergency food because it was on. She had an addiction, and so she had a ton of shit in our house. Oh, keyboard. I don't mind taking it off your hands. All right, I'll give it to you. And she and her son carried it in. And I took it home on the bus, on the train. It was wild, man.
Oh, and Angela, you'd probably might get a kick out of it because he's not one of the main characters, but Vincent D'Onofrio plays Bruce Willis's
God
brother.
Damn it! Hello, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
We could hear you before.
No, so I couldn't hear you guys. It went dead on me.
Ah,
But yeah, we were waiting. Like we heard that you carried the keyboard home on the bus / train.
Yeah,
At least
it
you-
didn't. That's good.
I say at least you weren't trying to do what was it fucking China was saying, or is it someplace in the fucking States? They're like, it's a trackless train. So a bus?
A bus, yes. A trackless train. The fuck is a trackless train?
a bus, a big one, but a bus.
Train that doesn't run on a track.
Cable car?
No, cable car runs on a track.
Mm-hmm.
No, well, yeah, because we had a trolley system in Baltimore.
Wait a second. There's the problem.
What?
None of those things run. They roll.
Okay, so Monkey's got his thing about people that and Poke said for starting streams with music and everything. My art streams usually start with about 5 to 7 minutes of music as I'm finishing setting stuff up, but I try to make it so that it runs most, if not completely, before the official.
No,
start
he
of the
he
show.
brings up with people who are doing like 30 minutes plus of it.
You know, like
Because then you don't know exactly where it
should
fucking
not be
starts.
named.
You should not be named.
Cable car?
The trickster god of the internet.
Oh, yes. Leave the trickster god. We do not invoke the trickster god's name. We don't want to incur his wrath or his
I was
attention.
going, he who must not be named, you mean Voldemort is on the internet?
Well,
I
what
know
they're
who
talking
you're
about,
talking about.
what
I
they're
know
talking
who
about,
you're talking
yeah.
about.
I said
I
they're
know
talking
who you're
about Mr.
talking about.
Medicare, who we aren't saying anything good nor bad about. We are wishing him good. It's like at least I am wishing him good health and luck with what
Yeah,
he's doing, so he doesn't have to go to another body anytime soon. I mean,
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
only 38 subscribers, so I'm pretty sure I'm not someone he's really going to give too much of a fuck about.
Again, I don't want to turn his ire or his attention to any of us.
I'm
The
pretty
trickster
sure
god's the trickster god.
he is fully happy just fucking with Boogie right now.
Everyone's fully happy fucking with the fat ass.
Now I gotta
Fuck
find
him.
someone named Sage.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and Polly had a metric fuck ton on the last Noir bar.
Did you guys hear that Robert Downey Jr. is returning to the MCU as Doctor Doom?
What?
Why?
I'm coining this phrase now. Once you got to mark it on the calendar, I'm coining the phrase Iron Doom. I'm coining it, and if they use it, I'm taking their asses to court.
What did you just say?
Iron Doom.
Iron Doom. It,
Oh.
it, it is going to be some multiversal shit where Tony Stark is actually Doctor Doom in that universe, and somehow he comes to this one, and he's going to be Iron Doom.
Well, they're not gonna make him fucking Doom Man.
Yeah, it wouldn't fucking fit if he was Doom Man or Doctor Man. So
Doctor
he's going
Iron.
to be.
No, bad idea.
Dr. Man.
Doctor Man.
Doctor Man. Paging Doctor Man.
Man.
Although every time I do that, I also can think of his Archer.
All I can think about is Doctor Girlfriend.
Well, no, you know,
Venture Brothers.
yep,
Yep.
I was saying that one, but the one episode of frickin' Archer is like, paging Dr. Boy, Dr. Birthday Boy.
Wow.
I guess I'm the only one who's seen that much of Archer.
I've seen Archer. I just haven't seen that much of Archer. I just
Yeah,
know some of the good memes.
Yeah, that's the one where
Like
he gets
phrasing.
that's the one where he gets the El Camino. I think it's also the one where he has the switchblade for the episode. And they're like, "Where'd you get that?" And he's like, "It's a long story." And then it has a little flashback to him like at a pawn shop where he's and he's just like, "Neat."
What's his name?
Oh my god, that just reminded me. Have any? I'm probably the one who takes up like season this one. Like, have you ever paid attention to how so many knives look in like the old fucking movies, like the 70s and 80s?
Yes.
Of how they
I-
look, they look like they could not cut anything.
Okay.
Because like in the second one, they have one of the guys who's got this hunk of wood and a boot knife, and he's supposed to be hitting the end of it. And even if you were doing that slightly, it'd still stick, but it's just bouncing off.
Well, it's not like they could have anything really sharp. I mean, last thing you need is the knife equivalent of Alec Baldwin.
Well, this is the 80s. Like this was like the 80s, 70s and 80s, so they're a little more fast and loose in this time frame.
You know who I think is an underrated actor?
Who?
John C. McGinty.
Who?
John C. McGinty.
Let me look
Give
about.
us a role.
I heard.
Give us a movie he was in for a major role.
Major role, I'm not sure, but he was in. Here's the asshole doctor. In
Oh,
Scrubs.
I've seen him. Yeah,
Oh, the one who played Dr. Cox?
Yes.
he was Captain Hendrick in The Rock.
Yeah, he's done that. He was also the fuck.
Stand Against Evil.
Well, he was also one of the guys for Korea in, was it Platoon that Charlie Sheen was in
Yes.
with
He was
Willem
in-
Dafoe? Yeah, he's the one who shoots Willem Dafoe.
Oh, he was in Highlander too. The worst one.
He also was in Burn Notice for a little bit.
He was Metallo in Superman, Batman, Public Enemies.
He's done quite a bit.
But I still think he's underrated.
Oh yeah,
Because I think he pulls off Dennis Leary shtick better than what Dennis Leary does.
well that's the thing is he can pull off like the Dennis Leary shtick type thing. He can also pull off like being a genuinely good guy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow,
the
he
dude's
had-
got
I love
the dude's got better like good acting chops. He's one of those ones that like he just falls into the role.
You know, as much as I want to hate Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, I can't. And I'll tell you why.
Get that cheddar, brother.
Tropic Thunder.
Okay.
I think I don't know if I'm the minority in this one, but I am not the biggest fan of that movie.
I'm not a huge fan
No.
of that movie, but I thought that Robert Downey Jr.'s role in that movie was hilarious.
It's got its moments, but just so
What do
much
you
that
mean, you people? What do you mean, you people?
I mean, I still say his best one there is when he's trying to go through like the old thing of saying he's a farmer, then finds like, I'm a land farmer, motherfucker.
But my whole see, that's my point. Robert Downey Jr. is an actual actor,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because this is during the start of white privilege and all that shit when he did Tropic Thunder. And when you do such a good job in blackface that the black people say, "Nah, man, he got to pass."
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen the jokes of where they were like, if they were gonna make Tony Stark a black person, who would you cast to play it? And like actual black people were showing the freaking thing of Robert Downey Jr. in blackface from Tropic Thunder. They're like Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll still say for that movie, the entire best part of it, and I normally would never, rarely say this about this actor, was Tom Cruise.
He blew up in that movie, didn't he?
Tom Cruise playing the fucking like fat agent, or it's like agent, or it's like, yeah, it's like a president of an agent company
Yeah.
or whatever.
The
Was
TV agent.
the TV? Oh, he wasn't. He was the boss of the entire company when it was just hysterical.
It was so ridiculous.
Okay.
The first time I saw it, I didn't even I was like, it was a solid, like, I think I realized it about 10 minutes before the end of the movie that it was him.
And yeah, BG, that's what we're hoping not to happen. Is Polly and Quiz had foretold of there is no longer the Marvelverse. There's just the Gweniverse.
The fucking what?
They had a whole shtick because of like Ghost Spider, the Gwen Stacy Spider Woman, because of the alternate universe type thing. And then there was the Gwenpool. So there was like Poly, like he says in this one, he's like talking about that. I still love that Polydub. It's like I got Polydub to rant for about a half an hour when I made a Gwen Von Doom joke that had the chat crackling other Gwen knockoffs off jokes in comic book curation, only for Quiz to nail Polydub to have that there was actually a Gwen Goblin that Poly finished with. Because basically, like,
Look.
they kept making Gwen Stacy into different characters of the original, or it's like of the Spider-Man universe. So that
I'm
was
so
the
tired
joke.
of Gwen Stacy. I'm so tired of the multiverse. I'm so tired of them filleting fucking Miles Morales. Like, get off this man's nuts. I
What
fucking
would you
can't stand
call
Miles.
Gwen
What?
Stacy as Captain America?
Captain Stacy.
It'd probably be like Captain Gwen America.
Captain Gwen.
No, because that wouldn't narrow it down to just that. But
I mean, she'd
Or
be either Iron Stacy if she was Iron Man,
plausibly,
and the Incredible
I
Stacy.
you all and that we're having this conversation, okay?
but we're gonna move away from it just because it's one of those ones that I don't really feel like having that discussion. But going back to like the Death Wish reboot, like it was pretty funny because instead of having to where like Paul Kurz in the originals listening to like the radio or seeing a bit of it on the TV, kind of talking with his coworkers about hearing muggings go down and whatnot, like you quite literally get to see Bruce Willis slow motion a video of his first incident with a gun, or of using a gun against people carjacking a couple of folks, a couple of black folks at that. Like I would say they did good. You know, typically reboots are trash.
Yes, typically.
Like about the only ones I consider to be good reboots, like I said, I like the Death Wish one because it doesn't shit on the original. It changes just enough in place and location to make it to where, like I said, it's not just shitting on the original or a shot for shot remake. I will definitely say I think the Dread remake is better than Judge Dredd. I know my dad likes to argue with me on it. I'm like, Dad, that's because you're a bigger Stallone fan, and that movie is a Stallone movie.
I don't
And
think
he-
one is better than the other because think think of one as a comedy and the other as a drama.
I think of them as Stallone wanted his face to be seen, and him to know it's him, and it fucking sucked because of it. And then I like the Carl Urban one because at least he fucking stayed in character.
Well, it
I'm
falls in
gonna
the
say again, I don't think one is better than the other.
like I said, I personally think it's not saying that the Stallone one is bad, but I do think the Carl Urban one is better because it falls into more of what the Judge Dredd character is. And the Judge Dredd that features Stallone could have just been named something else and would have
Yes.
been fine. But Stallone does have that issue to where when he took that role, is he still wants his face to be seen because during that time frame, it wouldn't have been, hey, did you hear about that comic book movie Judge Dredd? It would have been, hey, have you seen that new Stallone movie? They were marketing people based, or it's like marketing movies based upon who was in it.
Yeah.
We're seeing less of that now. We still get a little bit of it, but not too much. And only like the super big film buffs will be like, oh, did you see the new whatever the director's name movie is? So I'm trying to think what other remakes I can think of. And like I'll even say the Night of the Living Dead one because that got George A. Romero's blessing for it. I like it better than the original, but I still love the original, and it's mainly because then I no longer have to hate Barbara.
Barbara. the
I'm coming to get
Barbara.
you, Barbara.
Yeah, Barbara in the original was just kind of.
Yeah, Barbara in the original was like, thank God she got killed. That useless bitch was being nothing but a useless bitch.
Hey, stop
That's
insulting useless bitches.
excessive, but hey.
Hey, stop insulting useless bitches.
Okay, I guess I'll stop insulting.
I wasn't talking to you. Man, Jesus Christ, Angela.
I say useless bitch more often than rotten does.
Well, BG, it was just that weird thing of like people back in the like 70s and 80s and even like parts of the 90s weren't looking to actors and actresses for what they were saying. They were looking at them for the quality of the films.
They
Like,
were more mysterious.
No one
because
went to
you didn't
them
have access to it.
for their it was that whole thing that there was that separation because we didn't have social media. And then because of social media, we really got to see how some of them are really dumb. And how some of
And
them
then-
actually are pretty fucking smart.
Or we don't have cameras on them
Yeah.
constantly where your every interaction, like
But
in
that-
the 70s.
But that was
you,
that was also
Right.
when for like the celebrities as well, you know, they helped keep into that mysteriousness of it as well. It's kind of like when you look at the it's like the professional wrestlers who, when they're still not like getting paid to be their character, they're still acting the part.
yeah, because Undertaker was Undertaker wherever Undertaker went.
Yeah, like he was the Undertaker until the Undertaker moniker and everything was officially retired, and then you see that he's just actually this pretty cool dude.
Yeah. Ric Flair was the party boy everywhere. A coworker of mine told me one time where he was working at a hotel in Dallas, Texas, and he had a chance to meet him, and that's when he was in his prime.
Oh,
And
shit.
he was such a party boy. Yeah.
I'll be back in a moment.
My stepdad used to rent them cars when they were in town for matches.
Really?
Yeah, it was really interesting stuff because like a lot of them are so big that
That's
they would
amazing.
have to remove the front seats of the cars
Mm,
because they were so big they could drive the car from the back.
Excuse me.
I
I
rented
fucking
a
hate
car
And
this
like
they
shit.
that
couldn't
I'm
one.
even fit, and they couldn't even fit in the car if the front seat was in the car.
I rented a car
Oh.
like that once.
Hmm.
We fit 3 people in it just by having one person in the passenger seat and then one person sat sideways in the back seat because they couldn't put their feet down.
Oh yeah, like when they started giving sports cars fucking back seats.
Mhm.
Hey, I have a question. Since we're talking about remakes
Mm-hmm.
and all that, everybody has a version of Alice in Wonderland that they adore. Whether it be the book version, the Disney version, the TV special version, or the Tim Burton one,
Ew.
or the American McGee one.
American McGee forever. It will be American McGee for me.
What is that?
It's a video game. That is dark as fuck.
Well, I have an appreciation for the one. It's like the original Disney cartoon one. I don't know enough about it necessarily. Never read the books, and so it was something I never really got into.
They kind of cut a lot of shit. They kind of cut some of the let's say the worst parts. We'll use that one as yeah.
Actually, we'll go with what Tier says because you probably would have dug it. There's like some serious imagery in there that you would um really enjoy, Run.
Oh,
It's
most definitely.
It was actually a really, really dark book. I don't have a favorite version. I can say the one that I like the least is the Tim Burton version, though the second one was actually quite good.
See, I'm gonna go a little crazy because I enjoyed the Tim Burton version, though I grew up having a print version. Yeah. An
Probably
illustrated
American
version.
McGee.
Yeah, I like the American McGee one. Bitch is insane.
It wasn't insane.
She was.
No. She was recovering from a trauma.
Yes, and it drove her insane.
I was gonna say, James, that's a type of insanity.
But, you know, considering the trauma she went through, it was
She
a
could have been
twofold
more.
problem.
It may have been.
Which you
I
don't
know
find out.
it may have been a twofold problem, honestly, but she was still crazy. She was still crazy as shit. Like she used that Wonderland as an escape from her trauma. Like that was her escape. And they say in the game that it's her mental world. And while her mental world is fucked up, so is her outlook on life. And when she finally defeats the White Queen or the Red Queen in that game, she actually can come back to reality somewhat. It did it again, didn't it?
No, we
Now
can
I'm
hear
gonna
you.
have to check out this game.
Yeah, it's fairly cheap. It's on. I think it's on Steam. Let me check and see if it's on Steam. I know it's on.
Well, I don't know if the original is, but I know Mouth of Madness or something Madness, the sequel is.
Yeah, Alice Returns. Madness Returns. That's a good. It's still a good game.
It is. The first one is phenomenal in its own right.
Yeah, it's not on here. Like
It
everything is.
has an add-on, and
What'd you say, James?
it has an add-on.
No, it doesn't have. I've said everything is in that game. Everything is twisted and warped and fucking crazy. It's amazing.
No, no, no. In the they have the second game on there, but do they have the first game as a like a
Oh, a
mm,
DLC.
extra download? Yeah.
No, they don't got the first game as a DLC. No. If you want to play the first game, you're probably going to have to go to play it on Xbox. Because I know that's where I got my copy at, first game.
I had it on PC
What? God damn it.
like 20
I
years
don't know what
ago.
it said here. It's not just. It's not.
Trust me,
I
I
mean,
think
if you pull up the pictures of the Cheshire Cat,
all right, I'll pull up a picture of the Cheshire Cat.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
that
more.
that will tell
substantial.
you a lot about American McGee's Alice.
Hold on.
I don't know. The Hatter is actually the defining character in Alice in Wonderland.
Nope, the Cheshire Cat in this game still the show. I mean,
I don't care. Then they already got it wrong.
this is the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland. American McGee's Alice in Wonderland. He's still the show.
That's a dead cat, and I don't care if
And
he
and
steals the show or not. They
and I
got
can
it
say,
wrong because the defining character in Alice in Wonderland, aside from Alice, because
and this is the
it
Mad
is
Hatter.
Alice in Wonderland, is the
And
Mad Hatter.
this is the Mad Hatter in Alice, American McGee's. Wait a minute, I can find a better. Let me say search on. That's the case.
Yeah, I don't have a clue. I haven't played it.
Here,
No,
the Mad Hatter. And this is
you've managed to find an Alice that is not going
Can
to
y'all see-
appeal to you. Here, you should feel honored.
again. I like it. She's fucking insane, and I love it.
Of course.
It has a dark aesthetic to it. That's probably why. But like I said, it's a good. Trust me, Angela, it's a good game.
It's something. It's a mind fuck. I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah, it is a mind fuck. Like once words can't begin to explain it.
For
I
me,
don't know.
that game is the game is good. The premise is awesome. the execution was far better than what the story should have been.
You know what? That game really would have done amazingly well as. I think it would have done amazingly well as an RTS or a strategy game.
Well, that's
Like,
strategy.
well, no, it's a platformer.
Yeah, it's both.
I mean, they're. Well, no, it's still because even when she goes big and giant, it's still a platformer.
Not a clue.
Trust me, it's a good game. You know, if you get a chance to play, you should play it.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Like, I highly recommend that game. Like, Angela, this isn't a vampire's kiss situation. It is a good game, and if you get the chance to play it, you should play it.
I will. Look. How do I?
You will put it in
At it.
recommended.
Looking at it. No, that is not what I was going to say.
Every recommendation from
at
Tier
it-
is
It is a good. It looks like it would be a good game. With Alice in Wonderland themes, but I would not call it an Alice in Wonderland
Lord,
story.
I love you, Angela.
say
You could
every
also try-
recommendation from Tier is a
It's coming
Vampire's
recommended by
Kiss.
James too, so it's from the two of us. So you know it's good,
I know it's good as a video game. Yeah.
and it's
Well,
good as the
you-
Alice in Wonderland story. It's just a more mature one.
You can also, if you don't want to feel comfortable playing the game or buying it, you can look on YouTube. I'm sure that it has the cinematic movie
Yeah,
of both games in there, and it'll cover everything that it's supposed to without the actual gameplay.
yes.
And it's still very enjoyable to watch it that way too.
Because I'll tell you what I'm looking at reminds me of this movie that I saw when I was at a friend's house. She and I had gone out the night before, and I ended up crashing at her place,
Hmm.
and there was this weird ass movie that said it was basically it pawned itself off as a knockoff Alice in Wonderland, but it just didn't
You know what the movie is called?
I do not. But it was like Urban Alice, and I was just like, no. And no, when I say Urban Alice, I do not mean Alice was black.
Hmm. Films and TV based on Alice in Wonderland. You know what year, around what time?
Ugh, it had to have been around 20. When I saw it, it was around 2015, 2016.
At the, hmm. You talking about Come Away with Me?
No.
Or Come Away with the where Alice and her brother are Peter Pan and whatnot.
No.
Hmm. Alice in Wonderland?
That might actually be it.
UK, a modern take on the famous story of Lewis Carroll. It's about a university student who is knocked over by a black cab in central London. When she wakes up
That's
Has
the one.
amnesia. Okay.
That's the one.
All right.
Only they at least got the Mad Hatter closer to right.
It was a chick.
No.
Yeah. Bernoff Gallagher as Hattie.
Okay. Then maybe that isn't the one.
Well, let's look it up.
So I'm gonna bail.
Alrighty.
Alright. Bye, James.
All right.
You'll
See
take
you, old
care.
man.
Later,
Right.
James.
Thanks
Good
for
night.
having me.
Later, James.
Thanks
Hey,
for coming
James.
to hang out.
Now that James is gone, I want to talk about that bastard. He sucked. Oh God, I can't stand him.
Oh, really?
I tell it to his face, but he's gone now, so I can't tell it to his face.
Yeah, you keep
I'll let
inviting
him
him.
know.
You keep inviting him back onto your show.
That's irrelevant fact. Don't bring that up. Alice in Murderland.
I don't know.
That sounds interesting.
A low
All I
budget American
know
horror
is
film.
I might be crossing that over with Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, which was why I was thinking of the Mad Hatter. I think I was thinking of the Mad Hatter from Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. But which was actually better than Malice in Wonderland, at least to me.
Oh,
Even though that it was, again, it was a story that was loosely based on Alice in Wonderland and did not follow the story of Alice in Wonderland. At least they understood that the Mad Hatter was the um,
I don't think.
defining factor.
I don't think he was the defining character in that one. And that's the story.
I'm not saying, okay, when I say defining character, when Alice runs into the Mad Hatter and does the Mad Tea Party, is when she starts actually being impacted and learning how to work the work the intricacy of Wonderland. The relationship between Alice and the Hatter defines the progression of the story. Whereas the Cheshire Cat is sort of a MacGuffin that shows up at times when the tricks that she's learned don't necessarily function in her favor.
Yeah, I still don't see it.
Okay,
Denzel
You're
Washington has a lot of cast
you're
roles.
entitled to your opinion. I'm not gonna argue that.
Tyr's entitled to the wrong opinion.
The thing about opinions, everyone has one. They all stink.
Thought it was supposed to be opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got them and they all smell bad.
That's
Something
exactly
to that
what
effect.
it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but I like my version better. God damn, Denzel Washington's playing Othello.
I'm sorry. Denzel Washington, what?
He's playing Othello.
Thank you. I'm glad to have understood what you just said.
I'm sorry you didn't, but he's playing Othello, so I don't. It says to be announced.
That's actually not a bad choice. I could see him doing that. He was great in Much Ado About Nothing.
I don't know.
Hmm.
I stopped paying attention for a lot of them.
They cast him as
Shakespeare,
Marcus Brutus. Brutus, and okay, that's a weird choice.
Shakespearean adaptations, or
No, actual live
oh,
theater.
I'm not talking to you this time. I'm talking
Uh,
about to Rottenness. Are you saying you stopped paying attention to our conversation? Or are
No,
you
about
saying
like what's
you
coming out for a
genuinely?
lot of movies anymore. Just
Okay,
I for the most part stopped paying attention to a lot of them.
okay. I was trying to determine if you were talking about specifically what we were talking about, uh, movies in general, which apparently what you were talking about,
Yeah, like
or
a lot of the newer stuff that comes out, like since I don't have regular TV
hmm,
and everything, I have no idea what's coming out, and I don't care to see what to look up movie trailers.
I was going to say, or Shakespearean adaptation. I know people don't necessarily like those either.
As long as it's not another fucking Romeo and Juliet.
Like I said, I thought he was great in Much Ado About Nothing. That was actually a really good fun adaptation. Um,
Well, I only say that for the Romeo and Juliet one, just because like they put way too many of those things out.
Everybody's done Romeo and Juliet.
Mm-hmm.
even Trauma.
Lord.
Yep, with Romeo and Juliet.
Yep.
Not too
Afraid to
surprising.
ask.
What?
I'm afraid to ask.
Romeo and Juliet. It was actually really fucking funny. But
Well, if Trauma put it out, it probably was funny. Probably also clinically insane.
it was definitely clinically insane as well.
I mean, they're also the ones that did Sergeant Kabuki Cock. Sergeant Kabuki Cop.
Sergeant Kabuki Cop. And I loved
Who apparently has a Sergeant Kabuki Cock.
I
I
would
Hey, I think you
love,
got it
I
right
don't
first
think
time.
anybody else wants his.
I loved fucking Toxic Avengers
Toxic
and
Avenger
Sergeant
was
Kabuki
fun.
Man. Sergeant, it's Sergeant Kabuki Man. I love that one too. He did Poultrygeist too.
Oh,
The class
we're
of
supposed to
New
watch
High.
that. We were supposed to watch that somewhere.
Thanksgiving here.
Oh, okay.
Friends.
Yeah, I probably watched that one and then watched Thanksgiving 3. Although I think at some point on my own, I'm just going to have to go through like a lot of Charles Bronson stuff.
Are you gonna watch Charles Bronson, not Charles Bronson? His movies?
Hmm?
Yeah. There's a Charles Bronson, not Charles Bronson.
Oh, I want to ask Broughton this one. The question that Mitch asked on Never Watch Alone. For a one-off movie, Broughton, uh, remake or reboot, I want to say he said reboot, one-off. Who would you like to see play Freddy Krueger in a New Nightmare on Elm?
I don't know. Like, I think the one dude who they got for the reboot could have done a good job. I think just with what they put
Oh,
for that movie kind of fucked him over. I just don't know anyone else who can play Freddy Krueger like the gentleman who played Freddy Krueger,
Robert
Neil?
Englund.
Robert Englund. Yeah.
See, I said, and I expected actually a more negative response than I got, but I actually would like to see Owen Wilson play Freddy Krueger.
He could. I don't know how well of a horror actor he'd actually be.
I would be really interested to see him try. I've seen him do dramatic acting, and he's not bad at it.
Again, I would love to see Tony Todd take up the mantle of Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, but you didn't say that until after your bullshit answer of not Charles Bronson, Charles Bronson.
Yeah, Charles Bronson.
Which is what made me think to ask Rotten this question. 'Cause I
Again,
got curious.
again, I would like to see Charles Bronson, not Charles Bronson, play Freddy Krueger. And they, like Mitch said, they had to get the voice at the guy that did his voice.
I am so lost at what the fuck you're trying to say.
So there's this actor. We watched this movie called From Hell to the Wild West.
Okay.
And there's this actor that looks just like Charles Bronson, except for he's fairly young, and he doesn't sound anything like him. So they had to get a voice actor to do the voice. And I call him Charles Bronson, not Charles Bronson, because he looks just like him.
Okay.
From Hell to the Wild West. I'll pull it up so you can see it. His name is Robert Bronzy.
Which I still say I'm 90. I would not be at all surprised if it turned out he changed his name so that it would sound more like Charles Bronson.
Yeah. Sharing screen. Wait a minute.
I'm not gonna bother looking at this because I saw the movie.
I'm not too worried about it.
That's like 30 minutes to three-fourths of an hour that I'm never getting back.
Yeah, that movie was horrible. Charles Bronson, not Charles Bronson. See?
Yeah, I generally don't get nightmares, but that movie certainly tried to give me a few.
He looks just like Charles Bronson. So that's why I say Charles Bronson, not Charles Bronson.
What's
That
worse
and
is
he
I saw
heard
that
Mitch
movie
say-
without the.
That
What's
and
that?
he heard Mitch say not Charles Bronson. Charles Bronson.
What's worse is I saw that movie without the excuse of doing a movie review to
Ooh,
make it palatable.
that movie was horrible. All right. How did the main hero not kill the main villain?
Because reasons.
It was a Western.
Because reasons.
Yeah, it was a bad Western.
It was a shitty Western. He gets more he kills like the people hunting him down more than he actually ever gets on the fucking bad guy.
Mr. Scott, I think they're talking about the movie they watched on Thursday.
Not
It
this
was-
Thursday, but
No,
two
this is-
Thursdays ago.
A few weeks back.
I want to say episode. Let me look. And why am I doing that? I could just fucking look it up. Okay, what did it?
You can always just look up From Hell to the Wild West. Never watch alone From Hell to the Wild West.
Episode
I think it was 6.
5.
First 5?
Yeah, it was 5. 6 was Charles and Judge Minty. That was two good
yeah.
ones.
That was
And then-
yeah.
And then 7 was Wingman, the one we all watched together.
Yeah, I
Or,
was here for 7 and
4.
8.
Yeah. 9 was Ruckus. Ruckus wasn't bad.
or 8,
I thought it
9.
was fun. It was a movie that wanted to be. It wanted to be the Dukes of Hazzard.
Well, it wanted to be the Dukes of Hazzard with
Just one Duke.
Rambo and one other one. Oh, the A-Team.
It wanted to be the Dukes of
Well,
Hazzard
the
with just
18
one
came
Duke.
out after.
It was a single Duke. It wasn't
No,
Dukes of
the
Hazzard.
Dukes of Hazzard came out the year before.
No, I was saying it wanted to be the Dukes of Hazzard, but it was just one Duke.
Huh. Oh, okay, I see. The Duke of Hazzard.
Yes, it fucking was. He was throwing bombs at people, and they gave him this little island. Like, yeah, just fucking, yeah, give him the island. Leave him alone.
They're like, as long as he's not in town, we're fine.
Like, so now they got this wild man living on this island, and it's not even an actual island. It's just more like an inlet.
And he wasn't even a wild man. He was just a guy who, like, came back from Vietnam fucked up and didn't want to deal with people.
Yeah,
Yeah, he wanted to be left alone, and they didn't want to leave him alone.
yeah, but you know what gets me about that? Look, I'm not trying to do it, but know what gets me about that entire situation? It's not even that it's a long, like they had to swim out far to get back to shore. It's not an island. It's just this plot of land in the middle of a river that maybe could have like a house and
Glorified
maybe,
sandbar.
An
yeah,
island is a piece of land that is completely surrounded by water tier. Anything that is a piece of land that a person can stand on that is surrounded by water is an island.
all right. So
Now you're giving me flashbacks to a conversation I had with an agent.
I'm just saying that
It's
it's
not
not that
necessarily
far from land. Like, if he's not that far from town. Like, if he needs supplies, he could just swim over and get supplies. Like,
yeah,
he's still
I
there.
I get it. I know what you mean. It's just it makes them feel better for some reason. It was a dumb movie. It was fun, but it was dumb.
It was dumb.
Not a clue.
You literally just look. If you want to watch uh Reagan from The Exorcist,
Linda
make
Blair.
Linda Blair make goo goo eyes at Dirk Benedict in between the time that he's beating up townsmen and setting bombs, then you want to watch this movie.
Hmm.
It's fun. I mean,
Oh God.
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
I would have no qualms recommending that you watch this on a really bad movie night with your friends. It doesn't matter what kind of movies you like, because this has a little bit of something for everybody.
Yep.
You have explosions for the people who want and fighting for the people who want action movies. You have Linda Blair, the Linda Blair Dirk Benedict thing for the people who want romance. You have like weird wannabe drama for people who like drama shit. It's just a fun movie to watch.
You
It
have
is.
corrupt politicians for those
People who want
realists in the
political
audience.
intrigue.
I mean, I probably won't look it up.
I mean, a couple of
It's not to be mean or anything. It's just I'm probably gonna most likely forget about it.
Mm. Let's see.
You like 1980s made-for-TV movie.
Yeah, no, it was a very fun watch.
I mean, it could have been worse. Like we watched some stinkers.
Oh, well, we were just talking about friggin' From Hell to the Wild West.
Well, I mean,
Shit,
they're fan movies.
That
Yeah,
one
this-
actually was not a fan movie.
Yeah,
The
this
last-
was a
The last 2 weeks we have not watched. They were not fan movies.
yes, they were major productions.
This one, like I said, I'm fairly certain it was a made-for-TV movie during the 80s. The one we watched before that, I forget what it was. It wasn't a good movie though.
What are you talking about? Because we watched Born of Hope, You Do Not Recognize the Bodies in the Water, and The Raven. Born of Hope fucking sucked.
Oh,
That movie
no.
was terrible. The person who pitched that movie
That was
should be
Complete
that
utter
one
punished.
ass.
Yeah, that one really hurt. Wait, which one was Born of Hope?
What the Lord of the Rings one.
Yeah, the terrible
Oh,
Lord of the
God.
Rings one.
Oh God, the one where I was like, "How did you make me hate a Lord of the Rings story?"
Yes.
You know, they could have redeemed that by putting in Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, there you go.
They couldn't have made it worse.
I am the type of person. I love the Lord of the Rings. Nobody doesn't know that. And they made me hate a Lord of the Rings story.
I blame. I will blame Functional for suggesting that one.
Well, Functional already blames Functional for suggesting that one. I feel bad for.
So basically, you're just pulling the
Functional.
Jack Cochran and saying I blame the older boys.
Yes. I have to blame somebody, and I choose to blame Functional. But then again, he suggested a whole bunch of them. So, and this week we are doing. I think we're doing Jason Rising.
We're doing a Nightmare or Friday the 13th movie. I know that.
Yeah, we're doing Jason. I think it's Jason Rising because let me look into the server.
I've actually caught up on all the episodes that I've missed, so I'm curious to see what you're all going to torture yourselves with next.
Yeah, Jason Rising, and then it's only an hour and it's only 54 minutes. So I'm probably going to look up another one to fill the time gap.
Just remember that you
I
don't
know.
want to get too close to 2 hours.
I know. If I can, I'll try to get one that's 30 minutes. If not, I'll try to get one 2:15s.
Yeah.
That way, it's an hour and 30. Given the time we talk between the movies, it should be about. Yeah,
And
it should
it's
be.
not It's not for me. You guys have things that you're doing during the rest of the day. And you need time to like do things like make sure you eat and stuff like that.
Oh, I eat during us watching Never Watch Alone when we watch the movies. That's when I'm eating.
Okay, let me be more accurate. Mitch doesn't do that, and Mitch needs to,
I know.
number one, pay attention to what he's eating, and number two,
What's this one? It's another Lord of the Rings. How do we want to? Do I want to torture Angela? It's 30 minutes.
is it a crappy movie?
I
What
don't know.
movie
The fan film.
crap?
I'm not. I don't want. I don't. I want the authentic reaction like everybody else.
Uh, it can't be as bad as the last one we watched unless it's by the same people.
True.
We had the Viking movie though that wasn't bad.
Oh yeah, the Raven.
Yeah, the Viking movie wasn't bad.
We called her being evil like a mile away. Like the little girl. It's another one of seven.
Well, come on, slaughtered village of people, and one little girl is lone survivor kind of thing, sitting there all alone. Everything, yeah. There's stuff not kosher going on here.
Yeah. All right, I got it. We'll do one of seven, and Jason Rising.
One of seven? Is that the
Another Lord of the Rings movie. It's in the wow, this one's a long one. Like this is a full-length feature-length film. One day we might have to start early if we wanted to do this one.
One of seven sounds like might have to do with
the rings?
Dwarf Lords.
Yeah.
The rings for the Dwarf Lords.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's elves, so
Damn knife ears.
Elves
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense with the seven though.
Weren't
it-
there
Trying to
three
say that
for the
it was not for mortal men, seven for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, and three for the tall elf kings. Nine for mortal men doomed to die. Seven for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, and three for the elves. And then one ring to rule them
Plus
all,
the
one
one.
ring to bind them. One ring to bring them all, and in the darkness
And in the
bind them.
darkness find them, yeah.
Oh God, Jesus Christ! Do you know that they're fucking making they're going with the second season of Rings of Power will have Celebrimbor forging the rings, and it's being hinted that Celebrimbor will be gay with Sauron.
Oh,
I did not hear anything about that. I did hear that they have a girl
Yes, a
that's
female
assisting
jeweler.
him.
A girl that they made from whole cloth that did not exist in the lore.
well, they've done everything else they can to slaughter the lore, so why not that too?
Why not bring a girl boss that's going as is going to tell her actually she forged the rings of power and somehow Celebrimbor got all the credit.
I don't
'Cause-
think that's going to be the case. I think because I had heard that
Well, they're gonna fucking fight the Balrog, and the Balrog shouldn't be there,
fine,
huh?
nothing.
No, I'm just saying that they're gonna fight the Balrog, and it shouldn't be there at that point in time.
Hmm.
Well,
And
trying to think because Balrog's actually predates Sauron being in charge. They were
they were one of the creatures of creation.
well, they were the variations of the Maiar that followed Morgoth. It's like the wizards are some of the Maiar that followed the Eldar.
But oh God, it's they're ruining such, and they don't even. Everyone told them this was a bad fucking idea.
They're intent on ruining an IP that they don't actually like and respect anyway.
again, these IPs have built-in fan bases. You can print if you follow the books, if you follow the canon, if you follow the lore, you can print money. You don't have to create. There are girl bosses like Galadriel is strong in her own way.
Well, Tyr,
Like you
we've
don't have to make her
also
a girl
seen
boss.
as well, if you want to look at it in that whole thing, while so many people love the Lord of the Rings movies, they're still not the best, like, great adaptations of the book.
Yeah,
No, I was offended for Gimli.
yeah.
It just falls into that whole thing, but people have been saying that for book adaptations for years because the book adapt or it's like because the movies that are made based off books or comic books or whatever, they're not made for the fans. They're made to like everything else to draw
Bring
in
in the
the wide
normies.
to draw in the widest audience, not just the normies, everyone.
Maybe because in the years I have become such a gatekeeper that it all pisses me off.
Like that's the reason why you'll see like little restaurants and whatnot that as they get bigger and become like their own chain restaurants, their food actually tends to get a bit more bland. Predominantly in the States, not always overseas.
Yeah, they get corporatized and yeah.
Well, it's because as they get bigger, they're trying to persuade a larger audience. Only small, like certain things can be like, hey, we made our whole thing on being spicy, so that's what we're sticking with because that's kind of our shtick.
But the wider audience is the hunt for this mythical wider audience is
Well, no.
it's like
It's
fucking hunting unicorns.
Yeah. Well, that with the way they do it, yes. What they're supposed to do is cast that wide net so that way they can have a wide audience. It's close enough to where it should be good. It's like it should still be, while it will be criticized slightly by like the hardcore fans, it can still be appreciated as, well, for a first attempt or whatever, it's not bad. And then it can also bring in people who wouldn't have been fans into the fold.
All right, so I'll use this example because you know this game. You know Monster Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
You played Monster Hunter.
So I haven't really played too much of the original ones. And yes, from what you said, they did. It's like basically when they went to World, they dumbed it down a lot more.
Yeah, they dumped it down a lot more, and they took some of the epic elements out, like G rank hunting. You can't do G rank anymore, or
I
you don't have. Hmm?
I think they should have left it in because it's that whole thing. It could have been in there, and it would force people who still had that not being as good to get better to it. If shit's gonna be excluded to me because of my fucking talent, then it's excluded to me because of my fucking talent.
Yeah, and being G rank is a badge of honor. Like when in fucking we'll use the one before that one. In 4, I could solo G rank fights. And that's such a big badge of honor because these monsters are supposed to be like ultra omega difficult
Mhm.
and like they could kill you in like a single strike. When you have a full G rank armor on, and you can boast that, oh shit, yeah, I got it by my motherfucking self because people see that shit. Badge of honor. When you can take down like god tier monsters by yourself. Badge of fucking honor.
Oh yeah. Huh.
And
Oh yeah, and BG, some places do have a little bit different ingredients and whatnot. I mean, from
yeah,
everything I've seen from listening to people for In and Out is fucking overrated. The only time I
I
had
would
it,
totally agree.
the only time I actually had the opportunity to even go to one there was when I was in Vegas, because there was one by the hotel I would stay at, but there was also a casino closer. And why would I go to In and Out when I can go to a restaurant?
Yes.
Like if I'm gonna go to a fast food joint, it's because I'm at work on base, which means I'm getting something that I can go back to work and eat.
Something I can get quick, fast, in a hurry. Excuse me.
And like it's Vegas, so I mean, granted, this was also 2014, 15. I don't know. Shit's weird. But like a company doing that isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's that whole thing that you need to keep enough true as that wink to the actual fans. It's the one thing from everything I've heard from a lot of Star Trek fans, like the first couple of Star Trek movies really had. Especially when I think it was the second one that like Scribe typically talks about. No, that thing. Okay, my internet's still good from what I can tell. So I'm just going to continue on with this thought.
Mhm.
Like the director didn't know really anything about Star Trek. So instead of being like, I'm just going to go in my own direction, he's like, I need to get a hold of every bit of Star Trek I can and watch it so I have a better idea of what this is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's the problem we have for so much of this, is it's kind of like the joke people say that guys should do to Hallmark movies. Well, I've always wanted to create, mediocre romantic movies set in Christmas, maybe Thanksgiving or whatnot, and then make it a giant monster movie.
Yeah. That
Well, I
would
mean,
be so much fun.
it is some of the things that we've seen to where it's like you have these people that they come into these genres, and again, I'm not always knocking someone coming into these genres because like Good Bad Flicks did one on a guy who had never directed an action movie and took a stunt guy, Japanese stuntman who was trained in ninjutsu and was predominantly always a villain and made him the hero. And quite literally, when he was going through the script and everything, because he'd never directed, and they asked him if he could, he was like, "Yeah, I can do it." Like when it got to all the action sequences, the Japanese man and the other stunt crew was just like, "Hey, why is this blank?" With like a little bit of general, it's like a little bit of general overview of like what's supposed to, like what's going, like what it's supposed to end with, and that whole thing. And he's like, "Oh, it's because I don't know action. I figured you guys would know how to fill that in to make it the best." And they're like, "Wait a minute, you're giving us some slack to where we could, oh, we're going to have fun with this." Because it was before American Ninja Doors, like they were to try to make it that like ninjas were a bit larger than life in a way that they could do things like in one scene, he's got him legitimately chasing down a van on foot.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah, I want to say this is the one where it's like he's talking with a person, the person spills their coffee off, like either theirs or his coffee off the table, and he catches it, the coffee mug, and then doesn't spill any coffee as well and sets it back on the table.
Oh.
Well, again, this is like a 70s, 80s movie, so it's meant to be that whole thing to where like they were going to do something like that. But again, you still had that person who he wanted to get into this, but instead of just being a dick about it, he worked with the people around him. Who were into these things, or they had that, like I said with the Star Trek one, where he consumed the actual media. But instead, we keep getting people who are like, "Well, I've kind of liked these comic book characters and whatnot, but instead of having them going out and fight crime, I'm gonna have them do what I do, to where I sit with a bunch of my friends eating food and talking about food."
Yeah, which doesn't make any fucking sense.
Or how they've turned Harley Quinn into like such an iconic character. It's like such a huge, like, supposed to be leadership role, and it's like, okay, Harley Quinn is supposed to be like a somewhat smart character who did kind of whore her way to. It's like, I shouldn't say did kind of. She did whore her way to her degree. That's original canon. She slept with her
Mhm.
professors, at least one of them.
Yep.
And because of that, that is the reason why she was able to kind of get one over on Batman, because he wasn't expecting that. But she works best, in my opinion, as a side character.
Shit, she was sidelined in her own fucking movie. Oh, God.
She was in her own movie.
Harley Quinn and the Fabulous, Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, or the Fabulous Emancipation of Harley Quinn.
And yeah, BG, I would also agree. It's like they stretch it out so that way they can sell more comics. And there's a much easier way to stretch it out, but it's going to give it more to the artists than it is the writers. And that's you let the artists make more drawn out fight scenes to where they can actually kind of do the panels, more panels of it. More people are going to be interested in that than they are of just like, why are they talking about fucking waffles for 4 pages of this 15-page comic book? And then for 6 of them, they're talking about toast. It's fucking toast.
Because waffles and toast are important, don't you know?
Don't you know? You gotta say it like you're don't you know?
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Or get that in the right tone. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, y'all.
Clip it. Clip it.
Now all
That
I
was
can
creepy.
now all I can think of is the old adage to where it supposedly has something to actually do with IQ or certain like subsets of IQ or whatnot, to where you would have the whole question to them, yeah, but how would you feel if you didn't have breakfast? And they'd respond with, but I ate breakfast.
They can't extrapolate.
How would I feel if I didn't have breakfast? Hungry.
Hungry.
Pretty much the usual, because I don't eat till lunch anyways. Well, of what's considered lunch.
Yeah, well, my
What's your
work day
breakfast?
starts at 11:30, so I don't go with early breakfast. That's for sure.
Yeah, my workday starts at 11:30 too, and I eat breakfast on the way to work.
That's a
or
really
at-
odd time to start work. 11:32.
No,
Yeah.
11:30 as well.
I could not resist. You should have known
It
that was going to happen.
there. It was
Yeah,
there.
It was that
it
was
was-
low hanging.
It was low hanging fruit, just served to me on a
Funny.
silver platter. It's just like,
Yeah,
Shit,
yeah. He set that up right above the net for you. You gotta spike that
Squish.
back down.
It was a swoosh. Right
And
there.
BG, I haven't had a beer since 2001 some time frame. Maybe 2002. Not 2002. 2021
Mm.
or 2022. Haven't had a
Haven't
beer
had a
since
beer in a
2000.
few months.
I haven't had a beer since 2001. Yeah, that's when I wasn't drinking, because technically I wasn't 21.
Mhm.
I've been 21 or over for a very long time now. So
5 billion years is don't fucking rub it in that you're 5
Oh,
billion
that
years
that was the
old, man.
funny part, was when I started thinking about the whole thing of like, hey, to circle back to the original thing with the Death Wish reboot. If you go from when the first one was made to the reboot came out, it was fucking 44 years.
Damn.
1974, Death Wish, the original Death Wish came out. 2018. So it was one of those things I was like, yeah. But it's like, going back to the work thing, it's my work doesn't start until 3 p.m. Eastern. But I'm actually trying to think now when I've eaten legitimate breakfast food in a breakfast way, because like I would occasionally get the big old bulk bags of cereal and use that at work,
Mm.
because I can eat dry cereal. That doesn't bother me.
Doesn't bother me either.
Depends on the cereal.
But other than when I would go through to like, because I went into work early and I'd hit like McDonald's to hit the McDonald's breakfast, I know I haven't made eggs since at least the middle of 2017. I have not cooked eggs. Actually, it would have been early 2017 because we got back by 4th of July that year, like the day prior from Africa.
Hmm.
But in that about month and a half, so yeah, about 45 days, I ate more eggs than most people eat, plausibly in a year. Because for like 2 weeks, I was doing a dozen a day.
I was a nice share of time where I was doing like half a dozen a day.
Well, the only reason it went down was just because of the we had to bring it down a little bit. Like when I was in Africa for that whole thing, I worked the night shift, so it was midnight chow and then breakfast. I didn't want what was ever left over from dinner, so eggs are fresh.
Yeah. Yeah, I can
Better.
understand that. Fresh food's definitely better than leftovers.
And
Yes.
I typically got them scrambled with a mixture of onion, ham, tomato, and a lot of mushrooms and some cheese. Well, it's just
Yeah,
one of those
well,
funny things. Like because of that, and because of how many times I've worked night shift, so I've worked third shift. It's just that I don't do what's considered typical breakfast food that often.
oh, I understand that.
God, I about chewed out a couple of my coworkers when I was on third shift, and I was like, yeah, it's the one thing I shouldn't say it's the one thing. It's one of the things I hate about third shift and so many places not being 24 hours anymore was the fact that when I got out of work, every restaurant was just serving breakfast food, and I don't always want breakfast food. And their response, I could eat breakfast food every day. I'm not telling you you can't, you dumb motherfucker. I said I don't want breakfast
don't
food every
like
day. Because like both of them were like, it's like both of them said that, and I just gave them the look like, at no point did I say you cannot have breakfast food. I said I don't want breakfast food after work every fucking day.
How
Yeah,
dare you? Breakfast food's delightful.
and where did I say breakfast food was bad? Pray tell.
Okay. I'm gonna
I'm teasing you.
I'm
You
going
know.
to segue on this subject.
Oh, the bad part is I'm like double knife handing, got like one eyebrow raised, staring at like in between my two monitors if I'm actually looking at somebody. Like I'm probably not even looking at like since me and Will are in the same state in like the actual uh direction that he whatever area of Michigan he lives in. I think currently right now, yeah, I'm facing predominantly east.
Well, that's relatively close. So turn to the
Slightly
left about
I was
30 to 45
I was gonna
degrees.
say slightly northish.
Yeah.
If we somehow have it to where it's like we look up to where we lived in the map and it's like, oh dear Christ, how did I manage to have it that I'm looking where you live? Like, I'm knife handing in your actual general direction.
Okay. So you brought up breakfast and you brought up um cereal.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna and you're a Wendigoon fan, so I'm gonna ask you a question. Have you tried Magic Spoon?
I have not because that's just expensive.
It is expensive, but it is good. I actually really like it. I broke down and tried it because I needed to start limiting the amount of carbs that I take in anyways.
Mm.
So I decided to give it a shot. And it's actually really good.
Yeah, there's another guy that I've seen a bit on Facebook that I cannot remember his name. I just know he typically ends most of his videos after bitching about people being retarded with K-Bye. It's like Liam or something. He's actually a pretty cool dude, but he's done some of his like gone over some like the higher protein cereals and whatnot.
Could be
And
one of the guys that actually made Magic Spoon. His name's Liam. So
could
the
be
same guy.
and that whole thing. No, I typically go for like the big bulk bag unless I'm doing some of the particular ones. Cause like there is none of the bulk like Chex Mix one or Chex ones when I want to do those occasionally. Because like my standard is to basically go with like either Frosted Flakes, Fruity Pebbles, or Cocoa Pebbles. Maybe occasionally do the oh crap, Golden Grams. But like the companies that actually do that, it's like a lot of them also do a lot of the bulk bags to do it underneath a different name.
Well, that's one of their. We got quality controls that there's a lot of cereal that doesn't meet the standards, but there's nothing wrong with it. It just doesn't look good enough for our quality standards. We still want to sell that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Stuff happens with food in general. So it's actually quite sad.
So it's a pretty common thing with cereal where it's like, okay, this stuff matches this stuff. Oh, that batch, the color was just a little bit wrong. Well, we can't sell that under this label, but
Mm.
we put it in a big bulk bag and people still be buying it.
Mm.
That's like I found out because I've been picking up some of the peanut butter cracker sandwiches or peanut butter and cracker sandwiches.
Yep.
And I got the one that is okay, but I'm going to go back to the Lance ones that have the honey cracker and peanut butter. Those ones were just better.
Well, with peanut butter, you got to have just a little bit of sweet.
Well, no, the crackers were better. The one that I have right now is the one that costs a bit less. So I was like, I'll try these ones out. They're not so bad. They're not bad. Just the crackers aren't as good.
I
They're cra-
think I know what you're talking about. Is it the company is called Lance, and then the crackers called like Nicot?
I can't remember. Here, give me a second. I'll grab the one last pack I still have. Now, I had a Lance one first, and these ones I have are the Austin brand.
Okay. Because Lance does a specific it's not really a cracker, it's more like an animal cracker kind of cookie.
No, these ones, they still say cracker. And, yeah,
Well,
BG, I definitely
Also,
wouldn't
the
eat,
animal crackers.
like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do the armadillo eggs and everything because you lost me as soon as you said cream cheese. I'm not a cream cheese guy.
Cream cheese is fucking awesome.
Hey,
I
man,
like
you want cheddar and cream cheese stuff, jalapenos wrapped in bacon, or I guess pork sausage, or then wrapped in bacon, or
That's delightful.
bacon?
It does.
I mean, heck, you'd probably like the one things that my dad. It's like you actually, you might get a kick out of this one. Get the if you like green onions, you can get the full green onions that aren't diced up, and then you'll get ham, just regular deli ham for a sandwich,
Mhm.
and you'll put a layer of cream cheese, and you'll have cut the like where it's basically just down to the stem. You'll have obviously cut the root off, so you'll put that layer of cream cheese over the piece of ham, and you'll put that green onion about dead in the middle of it, but use the start at one end and then wrap it all the way up.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know what they're called. I just know my dad fucking loves them.
I love them.
Yeah.
Properly made, they're delish.
Well, they're kind of hard. From everything I've seen, they're kind of hard to fuck up.
I've seen people I've seen people that messed up boiling water for Kraft mac and cheese. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying they
I'm not
can't be
gonna
fucked
say
up.
anything.
What, Angela?
I'm not gonna say anything because I've known people who could start with water that they were boiling for Kraft mac and cheese.
That's what I was
When
gonna.
they started, there was water in the pot.
Yes. I've known my little cousin has burnt hot dogs. That's why I refuse to eat her cooking.
Well, if you do hot dogs right, they should have a little charring, unless you're gonna freaking
No,
boil.
no, on a stove and boiled.
That's impressive.
It is.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It's like I'm not saying you can't fuck it up. I'm just saying for these ones, it's pretty hard because quite literally, the only thing you have to do is cut the green onion and then have a butter knife for the cream cheese. Like maybe depending on the length of the green onion that you're gonna do, you might have to cut the piece of deli ham in half the long way. Again,
I would be
it's
surprised by
it's
his ability to
still
fuck
it's still entirely plausible to fuck up, but it's one of those things that it's like for you to fuck this up, you had to tremendously fuck up.
It's like you had to actually actively try
Mm-hmm.
to do it. It's not a fuck up that just happened. You kind of had to go out of your way to do this shit.
Mm-hmm.
I understand.
yeah, I just tend to expect people to do the dumbest thing at the worst possible time.
Never deny someone's ability to fuck something up.
There's a reason why the army does things to the lowest common denominator.
But
Well, I mean, the really funny one is when you look at the park services to where they have to make a trash can that can still be operated by the dumbest human, but then can't be opened by the smartest bear.
that's a fucking skill.
Yup. When I heard that
Well,
one,
it's the particular challenge there is the smartest bear is a whole lot brighter than the dumbest human,
yep,
hey,
and they will teach other bears.
boo boo.
which is another area where the humans so frequently fail.
Yep. They'll be like, hey, boo boo, let's go get in that garbage basket.
A garbage bag.
Well, there's no sense of calling it a picnic basket. I don't know if
So we're
my
having a
go.
picnic, Yogi.
I don't know if my Yogi Bear is as good as it used to be.
Good
It
enough.
was pretty good. It worked. I knew who it was supposed to be.
Oh, back in the day, I was able to do a pretty good one, and before my buddy's dad went batshit insane and had some issues to where I think he's finally got it worked out for the most part. Like him and I used to go back and forth where I could do the Yogi Bear and he could do Boo Boo.
Huh?
Like if my buddy could have done freaking Ranger Rick, it'd have been hysterical. Granted, before we cut out, since it's been 2 hours, I do want to tell one of his stories of him and his brother. This is where they were living back in where I grew up for the most part. And he came in, or we came. It's like we came into his dad's girlfriend's house, and we're talking. We see his brother, and we're like, "Hey, man," or my buddy's like, "Hey, man, where's the remote control for the TV?" And his brother goes, "What?" And he goes, "Where is the remote control for the TV?" Oh, on the table. And PG, there's no sense in calling them assless chaps. All chaps are assless.
Thank
Otherwise,
you.
they'd be pants.
Thank you. I'm like, by definition, chaps are assless. They are not meant to cover your ass. They are meant to keep your thighs from being damaged.
Actually, they were designed so when you rode in the saddle, it didn't chafe.
Exactly.
Or if something brushed along the outside of the legs, you had more protection there.
Yeah.
An extra layer.
Hmm.
And that worked over into motorcycles as well. And
And
depending
then
on what it
became
is, like
dangerous.
when you're talking about like the flight line or something, because one of the guys I knew, he brought up, he knew one of the cops that had to do some of the stuff for that. Like they basically narrowed it down that to follow technically all of the OSHA and Air Force standards, the bare minimum that you legitimately had to be wearing on the flight line was your flight line control badge, a reflective belt, and safety toed shoes or safety toed boots. And that was it.
Okay.
Looks like that was the whole thing of like, what are the actual requirements of what you have to wear? And those were it. But it's been over 2 hours. We're going to get out of here. And then I'm going to go finish the Stream Monkey stream and want to punch Nico in the face for being a retard.
Oh, fun.
Yay.
I feel like I'm very glad that I've never really run into that guy ever.
Well, he was using the same debating tactics that Destiny typically does a lot of times, where they'll try to get you, like they'll either try to get you to agree to a set definition, or put a basically set aspect of belief, and then hammer that home of like that is your belief. So it's pretty dickish for some things, but we're gonna get out of here. There's links and everything for everyone. Tears got tomorrow for the midnight show. Angela, or not midnight show, son of a bitch.
In
Minions.
space. In space.
Midnight in space. Minions of the show. I don't know anymore.
Minions of the show. You know
And-
the thing.
The thing, man. Angela's got, I believe she'll be on Mr. Adams tomorrow.
Yep.
Then they'll all, and you can see the three on the that have been on the panel, excluding James because he has his James things to do. Should be on Thursday for Tears' other show.
Never watch alone.
Never Watch Alone. Obviously, we'll
I
have
won't, but that's
Ah.
work stuff.
Oh yeah, because you're now back to your regular work schedule.
Yeah.
And then obviously there'll be the Saturday show, which I believe Jen T's the guest.
Yes, sir.
And then next Sunday, we will be watching and then reviewing The Weatherman, starring Nicolas Cage.
And next Sunday, I will be on my vacation.
Yeah, I still got to figure out some vacation dates. I also really need to call the VA. See what I'm going to get for anything, if anything, with benefits. But we're going to get out. Oh, yeah, and Will have a Saturday stream on Twitch, either playing games or painting. Maybe he's painting games. I don't know.
Maybe he's painting games, playing paint. Well, he does things.
I do stuff and things and other stuff and things.
I got some stuff I got to work at, or it's like start researching. I just don't because I get sidetracked. I'm my own worst enemy.
We all are.
Or
But
get out of my head.
But
Get
have a
out
good
of my head.
have a good one, folks.
Yes.
And if you've never seen the original Death Wish movies, I highly recommend the first three. The fourth one's okay. The fifth one's all right.
It's a Death Wish movie.
Yeah, it's definitely to the later aspects, but less gunfire. Highly recommend the spiritual sequel of Death Sentence. And I'd still recommend the 2018 Death Wish. But watch the originals first. Always watch the originals first. Unless we're talking about the Nicolas Cage Wicker Man, then don't watch that.
That wasn't
Never
the
watched that
original.
one.
We're out of here, folks. Have a great one.
Bye all.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Join us again next week, or you can check out the other people in the panel in the description and see us again plausibly on one of their channels, or just check out what work they've done. Have a good week, everyone.